Hello, everybody. All right, so somebody asked about learning the 5 positions of the pentatonic scale. This is not as hard as we, as guitar players, tend to make it out to be. What we don't want to do is memorize the 5 positions of the pentatonic. We want to learn them, and I know that may sound like semantics, but it's not. It is a different concept, okay? So if I have my first position of my, let's say, A minor pentatonic, right, I learn that. That's great. I learned the musical concept behind it. I can then take that musical concept up to all of the other positions of the pentatonic, and then I'll understand what it is that I'm playing, why I'm playing it, right? Instead of just sort of memorizing, little dots on a diagram and then trying to figure out what those dots really mean later musically. So let's get into it. This is the most effective way, I promise. All right, this works very, very well. This is part of a 12-week course that I do. If anybody is interested, you can get a hold of me at the link below. And then this will also come with some files that you can get down in the description. So let's get started. I take my A minor pentatonic, our usual form. I love this form, of course, right? It's nice. It gives us this 5th fret sort of backbone that we can really work from. All right, but I have it within my number system, a 1, flat 3, 4, 5, and a flat 7. And it repeats. 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1. And then a flat 3 up here. Cool. Now, each one of those notes does have a musical function. It depends on, the chord progression that we're playing over. So I'm going to make this a little easier and just play an A minor to give you guys some sense of how these notes fit over within just the color of an A minor, okay? So if I do that, my root note is going to sound the most stable. In fact, when we're playing this, A minor, whatever it is, whatever the chord progression tends to be, if we're playing that A minor pentatonic, we tend to fall onto that root note a lot because it sounds sweet. It sounds finalized, right? And that is the most structurally sound and supported note within the scale, the root note of the scale, okay? Now, if we take that root note and we go to either side of it, we have a flat 3 and a flat 7. What those are, sort of close, but not close enough, right? And what that means is it gives us a little tension and it makes us want that root note a little bit more, okay? And this goes into like a call and response type of a feel, okay? So if I have very simple lick, right, and I'm gonna end on that flat 3 right there, right? 5th fret of my G string. And then I do the same exact lick, and I just end right there on my root note. So that flat 3, simple lick ending on a flat 3 is going to build just that little bit of tension. And then I can play the same exact lick and then just resolve it with my root note, okay? So that is a call, lick that ends in a tension note, a flat 3 or a flat 7. Right, there's my flat 7, the 5th fret of my D string, and then the same exact one and just resolve it. Now, you can mix it up, just playing one lick that ends on a tension note, flat 3 or flat 7, doesn't matter where it is. Right, and just going back and forth, playing something simple that lands on a flat 3 or flat 7, give a little space, and then give me something that lands on a root note, okay? Try it. Looking at the diagram that you downloaded to give you like a little bit of help, the way that I like to do this is splitting this up, right? Kind of focusing maybe on those bottom 2 strings, maybe add the 3rd, so now I'm on my bottom 3, right? And then I could sort of switch, maybe to the top 3 strings, right? And get used to where the flat 3, the flat 7 is, and the root note. And you'll just notice that the flat 7 is always the note before in the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. The 5th note is the flat 7. And then it starts over again, okay? And then the flat 3 is after the root note, right? And that's just what makes it close, but not close enough, okay? So try it right now, and I promise you this will help once we get into the other positions of the pentatonic, all right? We wanna learn these musically. We don't wanna just memorize these positions, okay? Go ahead, give a lick that ends on a flat 3 or a flat 7, and then a lick that ends on a root note. Now the closer you can make those two licks rhythmically is really what's going to give your guitar solo some cohesiveness, right? And not sound super random. I like to do direct repetition, like I said. One lick that ends on a flat 3 or a flat 7, and then I go right to the same exact thing that ends on a root note. Okay, go ahead, try it. Now, there's going to be a ton of backing tracks on YouTube. You can just sort of type in A minor backing track, A blues backing track. You know, that'll also sort of help. All right, so if we want to expand on that concept a little bit, right? I have my neutral notes, my 4 and my 5, right? So now I have my root note, right? My structural, most sound notes of that scale, right? My root notes. Then I have my flat 3. It's going to be tension. My 4, 5, those are neutral. And then my flat 7's a tension back to my root note. All right, and then starts over again, right? That's structurally sound, right? Flat 3 is tension, 4, 5 are neutral, flat 7, and then my root note. And you have that diagram to look at. Now, what's really interesting, and I really like this concept, and I'm not going to go into it too much because I want to get to the positions in moving this around the neck. But if I build a little bit of tension, right, with that flat 3, and instead of going right for an answer, I do a lick that goes to, that sort of like ends on that 4, that still carries this tension over. It's almost like asking a question and then making a statement about that question that you asked, and then waiting for now an answer. Now, if I have this answer, I could have another lick, and that is ending on the 5, which is a neutral note, and it just sort of it's not going to build any tension. It's going to keep that even keel, right? So if I'm tense and then play a neutral note, it'll bring the tension down just a little bit, right? It'll just sort of curve it down, and then I'll still need to resolve it. And if I resolve and then hit one of the neutral notes, right, it just sort of stays resolved. So those neutral notes do not wipe out the tension or the resolution. We need to add the tension, a flat 3 or a flat 7, right, to get to build the tension back up from a resolution. Or if we're at a tension, to resolve it, we need to play the root note to resolve it, right, and get rid of that tension. And the neutral will just sort of add to each one of those, right? If I'm tense, flat 7, 5, I'm still in the tension. I'm still in the tension, flat 3, and then I end on my root note just to give me a break. Now I'm down here. Oh, I'm still sort of resolved. Still resolved at the 5th, adding a little bit of tension, and then a resolve right there, right? So I want you to just mess around with that, right? And you'll see within that diagram where your tension notes are, where the resolve, the root notes are, and where the neutral notes are. And that is their main function, right? And everything is in that file. So that should help. Try it a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna play another A minor. Try it a little bit. It's not gonna be a long one, so go search YouTube for some backing tracks and see if you can sort of get this concept around, and then we're gonna get into moving this around the neck in the other positions. Okay, so here we go. So just to give a little practice. Now, how do we move this concept around? Well, now we're sort of seeing musically how the pentatonic, the minor pentatonic scale is built. All right. Now, there's really only 2 positions we need to learn the 5 positions of this pentatonic. Okay. I have my A minor right here, and then I can visually see that A minor right here, and then I have my first position of the A minor pentatonic, where I can see my root notes are right there within that bar chord, right? I can see where my flat 3s are, right? I sort of miss this flat 3. It's not in the bar chord, but there it is. And then this one, I want to get that one, right? And then I can build the scale sort of around that visually. I can do the same thing with this position. I have this A minor now, right? And it's sort of this minor bar chord that starts on the A string, right? And I can use this position Now, what is significant about this position is I'm visually looking at this A minor, which means I can see where my root notes are, which means I can take, if I know where my root notes are, I know where my flat 7s are, right? I know where my flat 3s are, my 5s and 4s. So I can do the same thing I just did down here. Building tension, understanding, resolving, feel that nice resolve up here. But this scale starts on the 5th, right? 5, flat 7, 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, right? So if I can make this form feel really comfortable musically, navigating and knowing where I am, and I can make this form really comfortable musically and navigating, all I need to do is bridge those 2 together. So before we do, just try messing around in this pentatonic and feeling where those root notes are, right? They're on your 12th fret now of your A string, 14th fret of your G string, right? And then just sort of mess around. If you can get a call and response, if you can get a lick that ends on a flat 7 or a flat 3, and then a nice lick that resolves, that's great. If you can start putting in, some of those neutral notes, a lick that ends on one of the 4s or the 5s, that's also great, But like I said, you can search backing tracks on YouTube to give yourself a little bit more time, but just mess around with that and notice right there is your A minor. You have the chord right there to see, right, visually within that scale, okay? Scale is a little bit trickier because I don't have the straight 12th fret like I do the 5th fret, right? I do have 12, 15, 12, 15, 12, 14, 12, 14, but then the 13, 15 sort of throws it off, right? So now, just give it a shot, okay? Why did we take so much time on that position and this position? Well, this is why. There is only one note between those 2 positions. So now, instead of thinking 1 position, 2 positions, right? 3 positions, 4 positions, 5 positions, right? Now, all we're doing is saying, wait a minute, I have this one that I'm very musically comfortable with, right? This one that I'm very musically comfortable with. Well, how do I bridge them together? Well, there's only one note in between on each string, right? I have my 5, 8, and then there's a 10 before the comfortable scale starts, right? The next comfortable position. And then I have 5, 7, and then a 10 another 10th fret on my A string before, here we are. I have another 5, 7, and then a 10, right, before my comfortable position starts up here. Another 5, 7, this one's 9. They're all 10s, except for that G string, that'll be 9 before we're back here again, right? And then I've got 5, 8, 10, and then here we are, 13, 5, 8, 10, and then bam, I'm at my comfortable position. Now, what we don't want to do is sort of skip over this gray area, right? And just be like super comfortable here, right? And just be super comfortable here, but we're never lost now because we're always sort of bridging and attaching ourselves to this first position. Right now, if I know that is my flat 3, that's where I'm starting the scale. Right, there's my root note. Oh, there it is. Okay. So I know that the next note's a flat 3. The note behind it is a flat 7. Okay, that's not too bad. Right now I'm sort of up in this position, but I'm never really lost because if you look at that now on the last sort of form that shows you where it's sort of like it's like opaqued out, you know, and it shows you like each one of the forms, but they're sort of like opaqued the way through, right? We can see this form. I'm just attaching the flat 3, the 5. My root note, my 4, I can add my 5 there, right, if I really want, my flat 7, and my flat 3, which were the upper notes of this scale, right? And I'm just remembering that that's where they are. So I'm just filling in the notes next up in this position, right? And I know that I've got all my 12s and then a 13 on the B, right? If I'm sort of up here and I start saying like, okay, well this scale, you know, I have 10, 10, 10, 9, 10, and 10. I can go up here and be like, okay, well then I've got my 10 and 12, right? I've got my 13 and 12, my 12 and 9, 12, 10, 12, 10, 12, 10. Right? Now I'm bridging those two together, but I'm never lost from this position that I know so well, right? That just sort of becomes like my upper notes, and I'm never lost from this position that I know really well. I just have a string of 10s with a 9, right? 10, 10, 10, 9, 10, 10, right? In between the two. And that's how we could start navigating those two, bridging this and bridging this together, okay? And doing it in a musical way. So you just start really starting to nail that area in, you know, with whatever backing track it is that you're doing, and understanding it musically and never getting lost. What we're doing is we're not just taking this position, right? And then just saying, cool, all right, that's it. All right, now next position. Right, okay, cool, okay, got it, all right, that's it. All right, now this position. Okay, cool, that's it, got it. We're bridging them together, and we're understanding that the upper part of this position just becomes the lower part of this position. Now, the lower part of this position just becomes the upper part of this position. Right? And we're never lost from either one. And that becomes really, really important for learning it. Now, if we want to tie this all together, when I'm up here, I don't even have another position before the scale starts over again, right? So this is my 17th fret. This would be my A. This would be like the 5th fret, so to speak, all the way up here. So when I'm up here, and I have my 12, 15, 12, 15, the next note now, right, these 17s just start the position that I'm already I'm already used to, right? So if I'm in, now all I gotta do is say, oh wait, cool, I know these positions. And I'm right back here to my original position. So looking at what it is that we went over, which is a lot, right? There's a lot there. And understanding, how we can bridge all of these pentatonics together. And going through learning it, the backing tracks, getting our ears like relatively used to where the root notes are, where the flat threes are and the flat sevens. Go through it. Understand that we're never, the goal is we're never getting lost, right? We're always attaching ourselves to that position or that position, right? There's always a way to attach to either one of those positions. When I'm up here, it's like, okay, even though I'm up here, I know that position because it's right here. It's from this one. It's the upper. Right, the upper of this position just sort of becomes my lower of this position. Right, and then once I move up one more, when now I'm up here, right, the upper of this position, right, is just the lower of my really comfortable position. Right, and then the very last one, if I want to go up here, or sort of, I'm on the 12th fret now, right? Even if I wanted to do it open, right? Where I am here is my upper. My upper of this position just connects to my lower of this position, right? And I'm right back where I started. And that makes it a little bit easier to understand, and we're able to navigate the entire neck without memorizing and then learning, memorizing and then learning. I know there is a lot there. If you have any questions, please let me know.